Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about Moon conjunct to Pluto in Synastry, this intense, amazing, transformative aspect, which is probably the most intense aspect that you could have in Synastry as far as creating emotional connection, attachment, fear in some cases, a powerful compulsive sexual attraction and fascination, um, and yeah, a deeply, deeply transformative bond. So, this is one of these unforgettable connections. Um, if you have a relationship with this synastry aspect, it is not a lighthearted aspect. It can start out as both people feeling intrigued, but also maybe even a bit fearful or repulsed at the same time. It can create kind of like an attraction repulsion because it's just so intense, and most humans who are not heavily plutonic already may find this actually to be too confrontational or too intense for their liking. But people that are naturally plutonic, scorpionic, Moon, Venus in Scorpio, are going to be more comfortable with this kind of soul transforming connection. So, this one aspect alone, it's like books could be written about it. And I'm looking out into the trees and I'm seeing like a heart configuration in the trees right now. Oh my goodness, and my video just did that. This new laptop I'm using, it's like doing all these cool things with the video. My last video did like fireworks on, or one of my last videos, and now it just did that heart thing. I don't know why. Anyways, and I don't even know if you guys saw that. Anyways, side note. Yeah, so this one aspect is like so big and intense that books could be written about it. But I actually feel that, I just talked about the square, the conjunction has more of a likelihood to work out positively for both people. Like, it's definitely, it's interesting because the moon person can actually feel safe with the Pluto person. In most cases, not all cases, the Pluto person knows how to love the moon person in a way that, yes, maybe it's scary, maybe it's intense because it's deeper than anything the moon person has ever felt before, but it's not necessarily harmful or damaging to the moon person. So it's like the Pluto person, by way of their Pluto, is able to give the moon person something that they can't get anywhere else. And, the moon represents our emotional security, fulfillment, our inner child, early life and childhood energy. And there's this sense of fatedness, and like the Pluto person holds such a power over the moon person because there's this sense that can you hear those kids playing down there? I'm outside, so everybody's out. It's summer, everybody's out playing. The moon person has this sense that like nobody can give them what they need except for the Pluto person. Now, if the Pluto person has more toxic tendencies or more controlling tendencies, the Pluto person may know that they hold this power over the moon person and also kind of use it to their advantage. So there could be some manipulation here. There could be, if Pluto really knows they have the upper hand with moon, and they know that they have this power over them, they can use that for manipulation and personal gain, because it can be like that they have the moon person and their emotions wrapped around their finger. But it's interesting because while that's true, the moon person also has the Pluto person wrapped around their finger, because the Pluto person is completely obsessed with them. The Pluto person has never felt this way either. And the Pluto person will do anything, even crazy criminal things in some cases, to be able to stay with and be with the moon person. So this is the aspect that movies could be made about as well, as far as on the negative sense, that things can get pretty nasty. If this is a breakup and someone doesn't want to break up, especially if it's Pluto, they can stalk the moon person. They can, depending on, what their natal potentials are, it could get really ugly and scary. This could be like the kind of relationship you need a restraining order from. These are all the nasty potentials that we have with Moon Pluto aspects. Now, does it mean that all of the time we're going to get this? No, it's just a potential when the level of emotion is this high, because that's really what it is that the level of emotion and passion and obsession is so high with this aspect that, in unevolved people that have dangerous or criminal tendencies, this could get very ugly. It could be violent. It's not likely as violent as Mars Pluto in Synastry, but it's more like emotional violence could happen. But not saying that it's going to happen all the time, but it's just something to be aware of with this aspect when passions run high. And Pluto Moon Synastry can get people acting a little bit crazy. And these are just facts to be aware of. It's not going to do that to everybody, but it definitely could do that to some people. And yeah, there can be issues brought up to do with the childhood with this aspect. So Moon Pluto aspects are specifically like fourth house energies getting brought up. So that's like our deepest emotional self and inner self and childhood self, as well as family patterns. So this relationship could really be a great opportunity for both of them to heal inner child wounding. That's really what is happening here, is that this aspect on a deep level is an inner child healer. It's probably more potent, if not, more or the same potency of working with some type of psychologist or healer or therapist or hypnotherapist. You don't need any of that. Just if you're in this Synastry relationship, you're basically getting that, right? But see, most people don't realize that's what's happening, and so that's when it can get really heated and difficult, because of course people are not licensed therapists or trained in all of the deep emotional gunk that's going to come up here, and that's why it can get so nasty and ugly. So it might be wise to actually still work with all of these type of helping people, right? But yeah, this relationship is going to have that transformative effect, the inner work, the inner reflection that you will be forced to do in this relationship is very valuable. And it's like they both know that, and they both sense that this is something that, you're not going to get anywhere else. And the two people can be very bonded and really value this connection. It's almost as binding as certain Saturn contacts when we have a Moon-Pluto conjunction, because, there is just this sense that, like, the intensity that we're getting, if I got stung by a bee right now, that would be so funny. Oh my goodness. He's coming to me. No. So a lot here is going to depend on the rest of the Synastry and the other potentials that are happening. Like, is there other compatibility, or is this just kind of a toxic, obsessive bond, right? Because the moon conjunct to Pluto, it doesn't in itself show compatibility, but it shows intense like addiction to each other almost. So if the rest of the charts are good and compatible and there's a strong synastry composite chart, this is just going to add another level of attraction, fascination, magnetic, compulsive sexual feeling and fantasy together. It's definitely unlike any other relationship that you've had, and it can be very hard to let go of this relationship if you ever let it go. This is the type of relationship where you look at who you were before and who you were after, and it's totally different, but there's a high likelihood that you will be transformed for the better with the Moon-Pluto conjunction in your synastry. So yeah, it's definitely something. If you were in this, yeah, my advice to you is just recognize what's going on. This is supposed to be a deeply healing, transformative connection. Allow yourself to flow with the changes, because that's the thing that can be brought up with Moon Pluto, is that a lot of fear can be brought up with Pluto synastry, specifically Moon Pluto too. If we don't know what's going on, if we don't want to change, if we're scared to let go of the emotional baggage and fears that we have, it can be all the more triggering. So that's my advice to you, is to just let it flow, recognize what's happening, you're being triggered to heal. And the moon person really has an opportunity to heal like inner child wounds and like mother wounds. And the Pluto person, same thing, but also they really get to experience their own power, because at times the moon person and their emotional self is going to make the Pluto person feel like powerless to their urges. Like, this is the kind of aspect that gets people to do out of control things for love. And so the Pluto person is really going to get a sense of their own power and powerlessness, and using their power for good, because there might be a part of them that wants to do absolutely anything to keep the moon person in their life, and they have to face those demons and recognize, like, it's kind of like that saying about, if you love a flower, let it grow, right? Don't pull it up. You have to let it be free. This is not the saying at all, but this is just how I'm imagining Pluto feels. It's like at times they want to just take the moon and uproot them from everything they've ever known and just keep them in their cage, and because then they know they have them, and it could be for good. They think they're just healing the moon person by uprooting them like that, but really they have to learn to let the moon person be and grow for themselves, and then that's when this can become the most amazing relationship, because there's such intimacy, there's such depth, and if Pluto can just let the moon breathe a bit, it can grow into a healthy bond. And there's a lot of love here. This is definitely extremely binding contact, and really powerful, really healing for both people. This is a soulmate aspect for sure. This is an aspect of a relationship that is meant to help you on your soul's journey, and it's gonna be deep. You're not gonna be the same after. I just think of people in my life when I've had this synastry bond. It's almost eerie at its power. You cannot let these people go, but you transform for the better usually, but they can really get on your nerves at times, because it is kind of you can feel invaded. You can feel, specifically the moon person can feel like the Pluto person is just invading their life and their space and their emotional self, and they can know that the Pluto person cares, but at the same time it's still whoa, sometimes they need some space. So I would love to know your experience of this synastry aspect. Was it like this? Was it not like this? Let me know in the comments, you guys, and I'm sending you all the love if you have this aspect in your synastry. Big hugs, and Thank you for your requests. Keep them coming, and we'll talk soon. Bye.